while I was in New York, I was trying to create a school similar to what we're working on here, bringing in these Indian values to schooling in New York. Which, on a side note, a lot of the top schools, the Waldorfs, the Montessoris, they are inspired by Indian traditional education model. But they're very elite schools for the richest children. So even in New York, I wanted to bring that kind of education for underprivileged children.
I just want to sort of describe it for the viewers because we had a conversation before this show. And of course, what Mazin means by the Indian system is the classical system of education, the Gurukul system, where the master craftsmen teach their apprentices, may not necessarily be their own children, but basically the next generation. The students serve with the masters, they intern with the masters, they live with them. And in many ways, that Gurukul system is not just training an individual for a profession, which is what, to my mind, the modern education system does. It basically trains you to become an accountant or an engineer or a doctor. And so long as you are trained to be a doctor, I think the education system doesn't really give too much of concern whether you're going to be a good human being or not. And so in this holistic sense, what is it that you find to be the most powerful component of education which you decided to bring into these schools for the underprivileged children?
So I would say it is that that aspect of holism, of viewing children as a holistic person, instead of the Western factory-based approach of graduating, treating all children as a monolith, treating them all the same, and moving them through a system in batches. We even call it batches, as if they're a factory-made product. So what we're seeing now in the top schools in the West is they're adopting these Gurukul values, but only for elite students. So even when I was in New York, we wanted to make a school like this that would be free of cost and be aimed at children in poverty. And children in poverty especially need this holistic approach because they're lacking so many elements in their life that makes it impossible for them to succeed in schooling. You can't study if you're hungry. You can't study if you have a medical ailment.
You can't, let's put it, you can't study if you got younger siblings to look after.
Exactly.
You can't study if by the age of 11 you have to start becoming an earning member of the family. You can't study if you have lost your father to a terrorist attack. You can't study if your mother is undergoing depression and not taking care of the remaining. You know, so they've got the cards stacked against them completely. I mean, that's a fact. So how does your program assist in enabling them to fight against those disadvantages?
So by viewing education as a holistic system instead of just focusing on mental development, we can address all of these needs of the children and make sure that they're attending school and they're healthy and they're well fed. And not only that, but the school has to highlight different abilities, not just mathematics skills and language skills, but their skills with their hands, their ability to heal each other, their ability to communicate well with other people. And that kind of broad approach to intelligence is also, I would say, is an Eastern value, which is lacking in the Western education system. And I say Western education, but I also mean the vast majority of schools in India